Feeling chilly? SG Heating and Cooling, fixing it right, day or night. SG Heating and Cooling is located at 7005 Cooley Lake Road in West Bloomfield. SG offers free estimates on new equipment and 0% interest financing for up to 18 months. Eligible equipment qualifies for rebates from Consumers Energy and DTE. SG will clean your furnace, verify it is working properly, and perform a safety inspection for only $59. SG also offers duct cleaning and sanitizing starting at $300. You can find us on the web at sgheatingcooling.com or call 248-242-6730 today for all of your heating and cooling needs. SG Heating and Cooling, fixing it right, day or night. 248-242-6730.
You're listening to CRBRadio.com. The words and opinions you are about to hear are of the hosts and do not reflect the management, sponsors, or affiliates of Cave Radio Broadcasting.
Coming to you live a stone's throw from the Motor City and courtesy of Cave Radio Broadcasting Studios in fabulous Redford, Michigan. This is The Real Nonsense, hosted by Dr. Chris Rogers and Melody Walker. And today's episode of The Real Nonsense is brought to you by
Melodic Retirement Services. Use Melodic Retirement Services for your retirement strategies and needs, specializing in 403B and life insurance, qualified savings plans. Prepare for your future today and retire healthy and wealthy. For more information or to make an appointment, call or text Melody Walker at 248-301-2439. Again, that's 248-301-2439.
Great. And we're live at 5 today with educator, consultant, digital media CEO, Mr. Damion Jackson. Damion, welcome to The Real Nonsense. It's good to have you on the show, brother.
Hey, thank you for allowing me to be present today.
Great. So, look, I want to get into it because you got a lot of things going on, Damion. So, Melody and I, of course, we do our homework and we search, we troll, we do those type of things.
I tried to troll, but I haven't.
Yeah. So we search, and Damion, you got a lot going on, brother. So I want to jump right into your digital media business because I follow you on Instagram, follow you on Facebook, and I see a lot of the work that you do, and it's phenomenal. And the name of the company is BRJ1 Media Group, L.L.C. Correct? Great. So let's get into, walk us through it. Talk to us a little bit about your company, how it got started, and what you're doing now.
So to begin with it, if you know, and I don't know if Melanie know, but my brother had Morningstar Media Group.
Right, Morningstar.
Which I was a silent partner behind that because that was his brainchild, and we kind of had our hands tied in a lot of different stuff. But he birthed that. So upon his passing, he had discussed and left a lot of different materials with me. Okay. So after going through my process of losing my brother, which was my business partner, prayed about it and talked to some other partners of ours, and just came back and rebranded because BRJ actually stands for Brothers Jackson. Okay. Me being the oldest, number one. And that, so if you all were following us in the past, Buff would have had BRJ2 on there. Right. But that's what it is Brothers Jackson Media, Brothers Jackson 1 Media Group. So a lot of different things, the whole digital aspect. My brother, like I said, my brother was a photographer. He did a lot of promotions for a lot of artists in the back. I haven't tapped into that yet. I'm just doing the logos and the branding aspect of it.
Were you doing that before, though? I mean,
I was behind it.
You were, hands-on type of...
Correct. Yeah. I laugh a lot of times because, I don't know, you probably heard it, but I often teased him. I called him baby, and I was slim. From Cash Money. So you never seen Ronald Williams a lot of times, but I was there, So, but yes, bringing that back to the forefront, and we've been having a lot of success for it because a lot of people wanted it, were wondering what I was going to do with it. I didn't want to keep the Morningstar Media group because, like I said, that was his baby. Okay. And I want that legacy to stay where it was.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a lot of his work too. It was exceptional. Actually, he did something for me before for my scholarly edits thing. So it was really great. So, who are some of the clients that you? What's some of logos that you're doing with right now?
Whoa, I've done UAW 1700s logos for the Ram truck.
Wow.
There's a variety. I just did a children's boutique closet that I'm doing and I'm pushing. Actually, they're branding for about 6 or 7 weeks. I offer that too. So a lot of people that are trying to actually get into getting their materials market, we offer that source because in 24 hours is a lot to do, especially when you have families and everything. So as you know, Chris, I'm pretty much hands-on when it comes to social media. Sometimes I might be operating 2 or 3 different devices sometimes. So we're doing that. But who else I've done? Mr. Bennett's, I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Keith Bennett, Consummated Consulting Services.
Okay.
He did with Flip. McKinsey graduate as well, but he was with Flip the Script for a long time. But there's a variety of clients that I'm dealing with.
Do you find that sometimes, and a lot of people say to us, and this is one of the things that I challenge myself with Melody, with our show, is kind of oversaturating ourselves, putting ourselves out there like too much. Is there such thing, or?
Yes.
So you find that?
Sometimes you got to balance because, like I say, you have family life, you have a social life, sometimes your professional life as well. But when you're trying to actually, go for your goals in life, it can be consuming.
Yeah.
But you have to have a fallback process.
Right.
And I've experienced that. There's some things that I've kind of like started rooting my spirituality in. I had that discipline and balance because it's okay to say no sometimes.
Yeah. So do you find that the stuff that you're putting out there, I mean, just the actual ads and promos and stuff, do you think that sometimes people over promote themselves, or is that possible to do that?
In that area, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And I always kind of, I don't know if you all look at it like this, but I always kind of take my guy from the big corps. So you never hear Targets, you never hear Kmart's, you never hear Walmart complaining about more advertisement. The more you present, the more your name ring a bell. So,
right.
You get to coin that. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to say no on that. Okay. Now, some people, I often laugh. I had an aunt that always saying, y'all always on this, but she never commented. But you got a comment behind the what's the name, so you watching us, though. But,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree with Damion about that. I was listening to a young lady. Her name is Jordan or something like that. She does a content strategy type of thing. Mm-hmm. And she talks about being consistent with your branding. And so if you're going to put it out there, just be consistent with what you're putting out there. Don't mix it up with personal and business stuff. Mm-hmm. Like if we're going to be promoting our show, let's do that and let's just keep doing it. And kind of don't feel bad about it because you want it in their face because you want it to be now they know who we are or what your brand is. So yeah.
So do you work with people to, when you do logos, are you working with them to drive their following, their likes up and stuff like that too, or is that something totally different?
No, I've done that in the past, but that our initial is to actually get that brand designed professionally, allow them to actually look at it. What they actually need to actually be marketable out here. You know, so like I said, exploring, getting their likes up. That comes with what we offer sometimes, but a lot of times it's the initial. A lot of our people, it's the fear of the unknown with them. For $25 to $50, you can get an LLC.
Right.
In the state of Michigan.
Exactly.
And that's something that we kind of actually try to educate clients on.
Absolutely. Now I want to switch gears just a little bit. You're an educator. You've been an educator for a long time. Talk to us about how you got into education and where you are now with it. What do you teach? What's your background with it? Where we at?
Whoa. So no, it wasn't originally my first choice. I think I shared that earlier, but Melanie, I don't think she heard it, but. I wanted to go to law school. I had my bachelor's in English, but I was getting to go to law school, and I had dreams of becoming a U.S. Marshal as well. In 95, when I graduated from undergrad school, the government had put a freeze on hiring like they're doing now. Mm-hmm. And some things came out, and I had a friend of mine whose mother and father were former assistant superintendents with the former Detroit Public School, now DPSCD. And Barry called my friend and I down on Woodward, across from the DIA Center.
Area D.
And she was, she was like a mother to me. She like, y'all bringing yourself
Put
down.
you on.
Yeah, and I haven't looked back, so I'm 28 in the game.
Wow.
My current position right now, I'm actually a high school English teacher at Academy for Business and Technology in Melvindale, Michigan.
Okay.
Kind of like
That's charter.
It's a charter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like a new teacher. I hadn't been in a classroom in 14 years. So,
How you like it?
you know what? It's actually been one of my best years in education. I'm often joke because when I left the classroom, and you know this, Chris, I had a green lesson plan book and and a grade book. So everything's digital. So I've had to get myself acclimated with putting lesson plans on the computer.
Well, that coincide with your digital media stuff, right? No,
It's a little bit different.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can move at my own pace. This is a weekly deadline type stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Lots of spreadsheets.
You know, a lot of cut and paste and all.
I bet there's more Excel than you're used to in your graphic design work.
Exactly.
So what are you guys using out there? You use Zoom or Teams or what?
We actually use Google Classwork.
Okay, so so right now are you guys virtual or
we just went back the 18th of January.
Okay, great. Yeah, we start back on Monday at DPSCD. So, yeah, we going back. We're going back.
Can't wait.
So in terms of dealing with the students, what's the biggest difference that you've seen since you left the classroom and then you came back 14 years later?
You know what? For me, because I've taught on all levels and have been in administration on all levels, one thing I find that is not really no different, especially in the high school level, is that I find that high school students yearn for tough love and consistency. So if you there every day and they trust you,
And we just talked about this with Dr. Norwood the other week. Yeah, and you came and said the same thing she said. Yeah, tough love. Tough love is important.
Love. And I'll just give you an example. So we did the 2 weeks after the first of the year for virtual because of the uptick in the COVID.
Okay.
But to watch, 10th and 11th graders run into the classroom like, yo, Jack, I'm glad to be back in your classroom. That's inspiring to me because I'm like, well, he was like, man, virtual's not working. And you hear it from them.
And nationally, I was looking at on the news today that there are a lot of states where you know, Chris, because you're in credit recovery, but a lot of high school students fell behind high school. So a lot of them are catching up and wanting to just be successful and get back in the classroom because they just can't do virtual.
Yeah, it's very hard for them. But it's very hard for the students, but in addition, it's hard for the teachers too.
Yeah.
For a lot of them, because
Equally.
a lot of them, when this happened, didn't have a technical skill set.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, I got to do this on the computer and do this on the computer and do this on the computer.
Yeah.
And some teachers did leave the profession for that. They just couldn't handle it.
And a lot retired.
Yeah.
And a lot have chosen other career paths because they didn't want to be back in a classroom with no kids on a computer.
So is high school your favorite area? That's where that's your comfort zone? Or would it be middle school, elementary?
I'm gonna say I like them all, man.
You like them all?
Yeah, I do. It's the impact and the difference. I back in the saddle of things. I have a mentor program I just established back in the high school. I had a
What's the name of the program?
It's Gator Nation male mentoring program.
After the school?
After the school.
School mascot. Okay. So it's for all males?
All males.
9th and 12th grade?
9th through 12th grade. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful.
I love that. Gator Nation.
Yeah, wonderful.
So we've partnered up with the Wolverine 6 Conservatory.
Okay.
Cradle, College to Cradle program. They're going to come in and partner with us as well. So they're actually, I got some incentives with my young men right now is that if they do what they're supposed to do, we're looking at taking them to Bourne Mountain in April.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Where? Bowling Mountain?
Bourne Mountain.
What's that?
It's a campground and ski resort up in Michigan.
Oh,
it's about
nice.
3.5 hours away. Yeah. So
I've never been there. I just kind of heard of it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard of it. I've never been there.
Okay.
I haven't been to Frankenmuth either.
Oh,
what you waiting
it's
on,
nice.
man?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Especially around Christmas time, you got to get there.
I've never been to Frankenmuth. Yeah.
You can spend a whole day up there, and what's the outlet up there?
Birch Run.
Birch Run.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Never been there either, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great little getaway, man. Since you know.
Yeah, I got to get away.
Nice little weekend trip for you and the wife.
Yeah, that'd be great. She's COVID terrified, but that'd be great to do to get out the house. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about too, and Melody and I both looked this up, and we knew. I know personally because I'm a graduate of David McKenzie High School, the former David McKenzie High School, and so are you. And so you are the chairperson of the McKenzie High School Alumni Association, and you have been for the last 5 years.
Correct.
Why don't you talk to our audience about that a little bit?
Talking about one of the best high schools in the city of Detroit.
Absolutely.
Actually, that's like it's a child of mine right now. I was fortunate under the leadership of former high school football coach Robert Dozier to. It's me.
Okay.
I'm kind of live on him.
Oh, okay.
I apologize for that. But under Robert Dozier, who kind of watched me come up through high school, I sat on the board from 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Until I received the position of the current chairperson at 16.
Wow.
So I was one of the youngest board members on there. Big shout out to Adrian Adams, Miss Gloria Cunningham, Coach Richmond, former basketball coach.
Absolutely.
These are all the ones, and a lot of the charter members, Auntie Bear, founded the Alumni Association.
Oh, okay.
So they passed the torch to me, so they did this thing, and I tell them all the time, on a shoestring budget for years. And you know how it's grown. It started in the back of McKenzie at the baseball diamond, then moved to Hamburg Field, and now we back on the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I commend all of them.
So look, this a quick story. When I was working for Airmark had a contract with Detroit Public Schools, and I was in facilities. And they said, hey, we got to get that, make sure the grass is cut because we're having the McKenzie Alumni Association is having a picnic on the football field at the corner of Wyoming and Chicago. Mm-hmm. So my boss said, Chris, didn't you go to McKenzie? You should go over there and take a look and talk to us about it when you come back and tell us how it was, right? Now, that was my first time. This was like maybe 2000, I want to say 2000, maybe 6, 7, 8, something like that. Mm-hmm. I went on the field. There was a lot of people when I pulled up. It was stupid amount of people before I left, right? So they said they took an aerial shot of how many people were out there. I can't remember the number, but it was an insane number of people because there was no parking on Wyoming or Chicago.
Well, this is what I want to know.
Period.
Is McKenzie picnic as big as the Ford picnic?
Bigger.
So,
is it bigger?
So let me
the
just...
first
Because
and the
see,
biggest.
me not being originally from Detroit, I always hear about the Ford picnic.
So
and everybody named Mama be at the Ford picnic.
I'm gonna give Mr. Jackson an honor.
I'm not even from Detroit. I want to go to the Ford picnic.
I'm gonna give Mr. Jackson an honor.
So let me tell you this. All right. We kick off the picnic season.
Okay.
So McKenzie is the first picnic of every year.
Okay.
Last weekend in June.
Okay.
We have a 3-day, and it's probably gonna be a 4-day weekend. So we usually have our weekend like the HBCUs.
Wow.
So then everybody else fall in place.
Okay.
So I got to give a big shout out to Cooley, Henry Ford. Let me explain something to you with those 3 schools. Mm-hmm. We all joined the alliance partnership, so we all support one another.
Okay.
Cooley comes out to ours, Henry Ford comes out, but all of their spearheads, board members, we all work in hoops together to make sure that all the picnics are successful. And weekend celebration, trying to get away from that.
Well, that's good to know.
But yes, we are. We 27, 28 years in.
Okay.
We have charity events at Friday night. Everybody kind of pretty much modeled their picnic or their weekend like ours.
Gotcha.
So just as, to cap off, we have a big fundraiser every year.
Yeah.
We Cruising with the Stags is coming up on the Detroit Princess May 21st. We usually have a Mother's Day weekend, but we got bumped out because of the pandemic this year because they got proms lined up this year. But we do a big annual fundraiser. We do like 4 pillar fundraisers, and it's great though. Just come out and check us out. You're part of the family now.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm glad that I'm an honorary McKenzie. What am I now?
Stag.
Stag. Oh, okay.
Mackenzie Stag.
What am I now?
And then before the break though, we the only picnic that have a live jazz concert on our field every year.
Really?
Yes,
And that's the LaShawn Gary stage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
LaShawn Gary was on the show.
Yeah,
a few
LaShawn was
weeks
on
ago.
it. Right. See how
So
this
it's
connect?
all a circle.
Yeah,
Wow.
LaShawn. He
Look at
performs.
that.
He performs at the during that weekend every year.
The concert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So he
wonderful.
said the last weekend in May.
Last weekend in June.
In June.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
the
we looking
24th.
forward.
It's the 24th through the 26th of June this year.
Okay.
Got it.
Got
so
it.
you're gonna be there.
I'm gonna be there.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Because Damion, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah. Ain't nothing like Detroit in the summertime. All the stuff going on. You
We're
got
gonna call you out if you don't show up at the
the
Stag.
picnics.
All of that. Then you can go back and
Shine
see
Park.
then you can go see what Ford doing.
Okay. Right. We're like, well, y'all trying to be like McKenzie.
Exactly.
Y'all ain't got nothing on McKenzie.
How'd you wind? If you don't have from here, how'd you wind up at the Ford picnic?
Because
Right.
I know a few people that went to Ford.
Oh, and
Yeah,
they
that's
told,
it.
they told you
they like a whole like clique.
They said that was a deal, huh?
That's a clique. That's
Yeah.
all. It's just a clique of people. You know how y'all got cliques.
They have a nice one though. I can't say that though.
I never been.
Yeah, Cooley have a nice one every year too. I've never been to CT's though. So school on Grand River.
Yeah, I've never been there either. I don't really mess with that too much. But yeah.
Well,
So oh, go ahead.
oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, you know what? Since we're talking about cliques and picnics, we can also discuss about Et Cetera Assistant.
Absolutely. So Et Cetera Assistance provides virtual and personal services to individuals looking to become more productive and to lend a helping hand to those seeking assistance as a lifestyle manager. Their services include administrative support, customer relationship management, concierge services, notary, and transporter. Contact Tiffany Nance at 313-771-4628 or www.etcassistant.com. Again, contact Tiffany Nance at 313-771-4628 or visit the website at www.etcassistant.com. Okay, so Damion, you satisfied with the picnic? You satisfied
I'm
with
good
that?
with that. Mhm.
Okay, so
I'm looking forward.
and he was a lot more humble about it than me because I was gonna go berserk. Like when it comes to McKenzie, I'm just really cocky with it. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, because
What's understood don't need to be said.
So what does it mean? I guess I'm kind of, tell me, what does it mean to be a chairman of the McKenzie alumni? What does that actually mean? Does that mean bringing, keeping connectivity? Does that mean everybody that graduates you want to keep a relationship with? What is that?
That's pretty much. So
Okay.
so he said I was being very humble and I'm gonna stay humble. So there's several class associations. So each class had their own group. So we going back, McKenzie was established in 1928. The first graduating class was 1932. All right, if you want to do some history, you can go up to the new elementary middle school. They got the whole brick layer out there and everything. But right now, as attrition takes place, the oldest class currently is 1968-69. So each one of them, if you go on Facebook right now, each one of them years have a group page. I technically am involved in all of those group pages.
Wow.
I pretty much coordinate everything that actually go. We actually have a website. So we drive everything to our website, which is www.detmhsaa.org. So that's Detroit McKenzie High School Alumni Association. You could look up everything that we do. It tells you the history. We have memberships. 1 year membership is $15. 2 years is $25. Pretty reasonable.
Right.
But these memberships give you a lot of fringe benefits as well. So so if you pay your membership, you get free admission to the picnic. You get free parking pass.
Okay.
We're actually gearing towards discounts at various fundraising events. We also have our own apparel line, everything as well. So I was fortunate, along with my board members, to actually turn our alumni association into a 501c3.
Wow.
So a lot of things that we do now are we seek corporate partnerships. And if everybody with alumni members that donate over and above, it's a tax write-off for them. Yeah. So they can still get at a school. And like I said, the other piece is that we're a nation of stags. So if you hear, and one thing I like about the current school is it's on their letterhead, it's stagnation. And Chris would tell you, I kind of birthed that along with my brother because that was a subsidiary group.
Absolutely.
Stagnation was a subsidiary group of the Alumni Association. So on the letterhead at the elementary and middle school, the top of it say stagnation. So I'm always a little excited when I see that, on a professional doc.
Let me ask you this question. I won't put you on the spot by asking this, but in functions, I'm talking pre-pandemic now, when we had the picnic, which class, and I'm sure it was a class in the 80s that had the most representation out there at a picnic, which class would you say consistently probably had the biggest representation?
I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. 70s and the early 80s do numbers. I'm talking about really picnic 75 through probably 83, 84.
Yeah, I'm 84.
Yeah. So, but the unity that I see in consistency runs from 86 to probably about 95.
Yeah.
So
it's really super tight.
Super tight. Yeah. So and those what we find a lot of times is the even numbers are a lot more tighter than the odd years.
Why is that?
I'm just saying
why that is
because of the camaraderie.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot like with my class, I was 90.
Okay.
But if you see us, I still probably run with 25% of the people that I ran with.
Wow.
In my graduating class.
Wow.
That's believable.
Yeah.
In Detroit, I see a lot of that. I don't have the luxury of that. Because you think about, you always see it in movies when people go to their high school reunion and they see the girl they used to want to get with and they don't like them, they all big now and everything.
You could be an honorary stag, Mel. You could be an honorary stag.
Yeah. I remember you.
We're going to make her one.
We'll make you an honorary stag.
Yeah. You got to wear these colors to Henry for a picnic, though.
Oh, Lord, trying to get me jumped. I'm going to get jumped.
You got to wear that blue and gray.
Nah. At the end of the day, though, we joke a lot, but like I tell everybody, though, if you understand the history of Detroit and you understand the sports programs that Detroit had, we were known for our basketball, our football, so it was all PSL. So when you see these guys, like I said, I can talk about Steve Mack, I can talk about Raphael Peterson, George Ward, Daniel Ferguson. These are all coolie guys that at the same time I could talk about Big Moose from McKenzie, you know what I'm saying? Right. Derek Hopkins, Pepper Johnson, Jerome Bettis. But we all come together as a family. We all are unified because we were DPS students, and at the time we were rivalries. But at the time, this thing is deeper than, like I said, you get a chance this summer. Try to go to a lot of the different,
go to all
of them, and you see the camaraderie that actually comes.
Yeah, I'll probably see familiar faces.
Yeah. See, I'm an honorary Cardinal. So,
okay.
So that's the love that, we get.
I love that, though. To see that, I mean, important. Even just coming to the city is something that I think that Detroit has as like a niche. I don't see it in other places the way that it is.
I mean,
here.
we're in high school, like, when we were in high school, when there were high school bands in Detroit, we were rivals, but at the same time, once we put the stuff up after Broad Street, everybody kind of got together, guys from Cody, Murray, Wright, Cass, whatever. So listen, I know what McKenzie graduating from. When I walked in McKenzie, it was 81, so it was a different situation. It was kind of rough. My brother wanted to go to Mumford. He was catching 2 buses. I was like, I'm not catching that many buses. I'm walking to school.
Yeah.
So I walked from Rosedown and Elmhurst to McKenzie every day for 4 years.
Okay.
But I know what graduating from McKenzie did for me as a person. It kind of laid the foundation for me to be the man I eventually grew up to be. So as a graduate of McKenzie, what did graduating from McKenzie do for you, Damion?
Could have been the best decision I ever made in my life. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was supposed to actually went to Mumford too. So, but my 8th grade year, because my parents never put me in the schools in the neighborhood. Right. So my 8th grade year, I had to sit down with my parents and I asked a question. I said, and it was ultimatum. I said, I've done everything you all asked me to do. All my family members went to McKenzie, and I said I want to attend McKenzie High School with my cousins and the neighborhood. And when he tell you that, best decision I made. The love, when we joke, but we actually bleed blue and gray. Like they say, they tear the building down, but the spirit lives on with us. So and I tell everybody, Chris, I entered in '86, so it was the same. The roughest thing for us, and I share this with my students, was the 12-minute walk from my house to the school. That was the jungle. And if you made it in there,
wow.
Because the school was a big family, starting with the security guards. Right. How many high schools can you actually say that? And I could probably call him, probably watching now. But our high school security guard, Mr. Johnson, I still keep in contact with.
Wow. You
know what I'm saying? And there's a plethora of teaching staff, support staff members that any of the student body probably have access to regularly. And they all attend the picnics and everything. They come. It's a big family. But, if you be able to survive that era that we came up in, we back 1,000, know? So,
yeah. It was rough. It was rough. But going there was once you got there, you were good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You were good.
Second home.
And it was so
probably
much
better than the first home.
Yeah, and it was so much to do. I mean, like sometimes I work for. Sometimes I go into schools and I look at extracurricular activities some kids have, and I'm like, man, we had so much to do at school. Literally, sometimes my mother be like, when you coming home? Like, why you getting home? So like, I would get home like 7, 8 o'clock at night sometimes because I had so much to do at school. I was literally at school doing stuff. I wasn't in the streets.
Yeah.
So it saved me from any type of illegal activity or any type of anything that could have happened to me as a young
Makes you
black
feel
man.
Sorry for the kids today, though.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Because they don't have the access.
No rec centers, no anything.
Like Boys and Girls Club raised me.
Yeah,
and they do have a Boys and Girls Club here.
They do.
But the Boys and Girls Club that I went to, Olympic-sized pool, gymnasium, arts and crafts room, just like 6 different places you can go into different rooms and do different activities.
Absolutely.
And they stayed open until about 9, and they fed us.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I want to jump into your consulting business. Wow. Let's talk a little bit about that. What you do as a consultant, how you got started in that, and who you service. Like, just let's talk to our audience about what's going on with your consulting business, Damion.
So that would be Damion Jackson's Educational Consulting Services.
Absolutely.
I think I started that company in 2007. When I walked away from the Detroit Public School System. So I signed off the dotted line, and I think I established my company the next day. Okay. In grad school, I went to Mary Grove. I had a professor that I was in the GRIOT program.
GRIOT program, yeah.
So I had a professor, a female professor, and she told probably 12 to 15 of us, and this was a male teacher program. GRIOT program was they were promoting for male educators to get in.
Okay.
Pay their tuition.
Yep. And this particular professor, and the light bulb came on, and she was like, education is the most lucrative field that you could ever go into. And at the time, I was trying to figure out what she was saying because, you get a degree, you get certification, you're in the classroom for 30 years. Right. And she was like, no, you can write books, you can do manuals, you can do. So my light bulb came on originally as a tutorial company. But once I started doing my research and I understood about training and development, that's when, I branched off into educational consulting to be able to do.
There's a lot of money in that.
Training and development. So I was focusing towards the PTA organizations. I was focusing towards the middle school population, preparing, because what happens is, and I still live by this to this day, is that it's not that our students cannot pass these standardized tests. We start behind the 8 ball. So their competitors a lot of times are starting at the elementary level. So I started building
preschool level.
So I started building models to focus towards 6th and 7th grade to start teaching them the language of the SAT and ACT.
Oh,
and now I'm as early as 4th grade right now with the language, introducing parents to the language, not to have them take the test, but if you're building that enrichment daily, it becomes second nature. It's like a foreign language. But a lot of times, like I say, even for myself, I didn't have answers about going to college until my junior year, probably my senior year, you know. But a lot of other, like I say, nationalities, they talk about that all the time in their household.
Absolutely.
You know.
They do. They talk about it all the time.
Yeah. So my company does a lot of different things. Like I say, the ACT, SAT prep is one.
Okay.
But I also have what's called a parent-teacher liaison program. So I help parents actually find schools for their students.
Wow.
I help parents. My background was in special education as well. I help parents understand the IEPs. I have parents actually deal with, social workers or speech pathologists because I had intense training in that. So when you're dealing with some of the charter schools versus, and Detroit Public School didn't ever really get the credit for this a long time, is that their infrastructure was set up for success of all students. So when you get into some of the smaller districts and some of the charter schools, a lot of these schools didn't have the services. They wanted the FTEs, but they never had the services to provide for a student that had special needs. So that was another thing that I actually looked at in terms of how could I niche my company to be assistance to not only school districts but family communities.
It's interesting you said that about helping parents find a school for their child, because I had a student that started in 9th grade at a school where I was employed as a dean. And, I think he was really trying to find his way, but because he was finding his way, it kept him in my office a lot more than he should have been. Fast forward, just yesterday, I'm talking to an assistant principal at another school, and she's like, because his name came up, and I told him that I knew you, and when I said that, she said, he just kind of said, oh, okay, Dr. Rogers, and I was like, we're good, but she said she turned her camera around and showed me a poster, because all the football players had their poster or whatever, and there he was on a poster, and she said, yeah, he plays football, he's about to graduate this year, and I said, sometimes it's just fit.
It's the seed.
It's the fit. Sometimes it's just not where you are, and sometimes if you go somewhere else, it may work for you. I knew when I walked in McKenzie, it was the fit for me. I knew it automatically, and everything I wanted to do and wanted to be, I was able to do all that there and more. So sometimes it's just a fit. So is it the initial, from 8th grade you're guiding them, or maybe and they're in the 9th grade and you're helping them figure out something else? Or
I'm going as low as the elementary levels.
Okay, China.
So I don't know if you all are familiar with Howard Gardner. He was a sociologist. So I followed the Howard Gardner method. If you get a chance, you can do the research. But he talks about seven different styles of learning.
Okay.
And a lot of times is that, especially for minority communities, parents, their best intention is to put their child in the best school. But a lot of times, a lot of parents don't understand the gift and the talents that their children have. Every child won't attend a Roper school, but you have to actually find that school. Like you talk about the fit. You were a band major, you know what I'm saying? Right. You had the opportunity to be up under, Mr. Brown. Right. He carved that out. But what about those that they call creatives? The art student. I was a student. School was born to me from 6th to 12th grade. I was that kid that if the teacher was born the first day of school, I gave bare minimum. So if I needed a C to pass the class, I passed the class. Like I was telling somebody, my niece graduated from Cass Tech in 2020. Okay. Detroit Public Schools had the same comments on their report cards from when I was in school. So I remember this like yesterday. I used to receive number 3 and number 7, achieving below apparent ability. And a pleasure to be in the class, because I never gave the teacher no problem. You know what I'm saying? But just think about that though. I entered middle school in '83. I entered high school in '86. Right. And I graduated in '90. And from '83 to '90, and then we talking 20. My niece graduated in 2020. 30
years.
With the same comments on there. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So, but how do you tap into that child that is just sitting there, frustrated, hitting their pencils, nothing. There's no misdiagnosis. You just have not tapped into their interests. You know what I'm saying? And athletics in urban communities, that was always the getaway, for them to get a better opportunity. But that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's not. And frankly, it's somehow, some way, I'm not sure when it started, how it started, where the extracurricular component just kind of went away. I saw it fade a lot with bands, and then it got worse and worse and worse because Detroit high schools had bands that were to be reckoned with, for years, and all of a sudden
it went away,
poof, just like that.
Yeah.
Because every kid doesn't play sports.
Right.
They just don't. So what do we do for the kids who do not play sports?
Right.
What's left? We got robotics.
Yeah.
Okay. We do, but
is that new, like with STEM?
Yeah. Robotics came in with STEM. So robotics is kind of hot, but again, that doesn't fit every kid.
Doesn't.
Right. So we need to have a plethora of activities so that we can get our kids back involved.
Definitely.
Yeah, back in the day. Because remember, we talked to Norwood 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about the Grant Hill Sprite Court. She wasn't aware of that, but they put it in the back of Noble in the late 90s. Grant Hill paid for that little court back there, and it was really nice. And see, that's not what we have anymore.
Right.
So I'm not sure what's going on. We're going to take a minute for an ad break.
All right. So next, what we want to give preference to here is Jared Davis Photography. For the finest professional photography services of all types in the metropolitan Detroit area, contact Jared Davis Photography, where we make magic the world will want to see. Call 567-343-1980, 567-343-1980. And big ups to Jared Davis Photography, who did our promo pics. He did Dr. Norwood's 50th birthday pics. He did your wedding pics.
He's all over the place.
A myriad
He's
of
everywhere.
Other picks. So he's definitely in the community and reputable. So definitely hit him up. And another sponsor of the Real Nonsense Podcast.
Absolutely. Jared Davis Photography, sponsor of the Real Nonsense Podcast. So what's down the road right now for Damion Jackson? Like you got so many things in the pot right now, and a lot of them are working in concert together, obviously. But what do you see yourself? What's down the road?
One of my biggest goals is that I want to actually take my educational consulting services on the road. When you say that, so I'm looking at national platforms. So I was fortunate enough to actually go into business with one of my college buddies I went to college with during the pandemic. So we actually started it. He's in education. He's in Ann Arbor as well. Okay. Detroit public school teacher as well. So if you know, with my company, my background is in English. Mm-hmm. He's my math expert. Okay. So we established a company called ATL-CS, which is Academic Think Champs, Consultants and Logistics. And what we want to do is I want to get at the conference levels. So there are a lot of national educational conferences to actually do some training and development for talk about STEM, but dealing with some of the urban issues when it comes to educating some of our students.
Gotcha. So you want to give the conferences and the seminars that educators can come to? That and
be presenters at them.
Gotcha. Okay.
So those are some of the things that we're looking at, putting on in the near future. Continuously working with the media group that we actually, have right now with BRJ1 Media Group. Just giving back. I'm community driven. I know that when you asked earlier, with McKinsey Alumni Association, stagnation was birthed out of community and charity giving. So I'm real big on that. So the weekend of the alumni weekend, our Friday night event is a major charity event every year. So this year I'm looking at hosting a comedy show. Okay. This year too, so I'm trying to get away from the actual party aspects of it, but bringing something different. We've been kind of hibernating for 2 years now. People want to laugh, keep from crying a little bit. So there will probably be an afterglow set after the comedy show. But one thing that Chris probably didn't share with you is that I'm also driven with promoting black businesses. You know that. Everything that I do, if I can circulate our dollar within 12 hands before I leave our community, I'm driven by that, So
and we talk about that all the time on this show. That's part of our goal here on this show is to uplift people in the community who are doing those things and create a platform where they can network and interact together, right? Yeah. Because somebody may be watching this somewhere at this moment and say, "Oh, Damion does that? Okay, boom." and that's what we want to happen.
Exactly.
It's not really about us. It's about promoting the people in the community so we can all build our community better, bigger, and stronger.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to do. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and that's basically, with the Alumni Association, that's what that network is about, though. If you find anything from everybody that pretty much runs our association, business-wise, and even when you come out to the picnic, there are alumni graduates. The DJ is a graduate. LaShawn Gary is a graduate of Mackenzie High School. You're going to find if our vendors, most of our vendors that we have out there are graduates. So there are a lot of entrepreneurs that came out of the high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we promote that real heavy, and it's beyond that. I could tell you right now, probably in my phone, my go-tos are probably 10 to 15 alumni members I do business with regularly.
Wow. So listen, since the pandemic started, we talk about give people their flowers, right?
While
so
they're
making
here.
sure, while they're here, right? So I'm gonna go on the air live and give you your flowers right now, right? Because I think that's important. So, Melody, I'll give you a little quick history, right? So,
Okay.
I've known Damion for years, but his brother was a student in my classroom in the 11th grade. So I actually taught his brother English in the 11th grade. And he became my Masonic brother later, and he would come over to my house and we would sit down and read together and go through the book together and learn together.
Okay.
So my relationship started with Ronaldo, and now here it is with Damion. But I say that I'm never jealous or envious, really, but I'm envious of your grind, brother.
Appreciate it.
I listen.
Did he grind that much? I thought you was the most efficient person I've met all my life.
I sit sometime and say, this brother here is making me want to step my game
Really?
up. At 55, yes, he makes me want to step my game up even more.
Wow.
Because he actually he doesn't do it for the accolades or for any of that. He does it because it's just who he is innately. And when I see that, I can totally relate to it. I'm like, wow. Okay, so let me go back to the lab. Damion gonna make me go to the lab.
I appreciate that. and like I said, I don't do it for the glimpse and the glam.
You don't.
And I'm passionate about what I do, though.
One thing that I heard Damion say was more so about legacy, because he wanted to continue his brother's legacy, and his brother obviously planted some seeds, and he wanted to make sure that they were nurtured and watered. Not like that. That it sounds like a lot of what he does is keeping legacy alive.
Now you're your father. You have a daughter.
I have a
She's out of college now. Still
no,
in?
she's a sophomore at Michigan State.
She's a sophomore at Michigan State. So dad is involved in all these type of things, and so she's like, wow, right?
Yeah.
So has any of these things that you're involved in, has it influenced her career path at this point, or?
Most definitely. So I'm gonna give you a short story that actually warmed my heart, though. So my journey for my master's degree probably started when she was 6 months.
Okay.
And I went the entrepreneurial way, so I took some time off. So my undergrad, she wasn't even around, thought of. So I go back to Marygrove and meet with the advisor, and only thing I want to do is finish my 3 classes to get my paper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my advisor at the time was like, I got one favor that I need you to do for me. And I'm like, what? She's like, I need you to come back and walk. Me not processing, I don't want to walk, you know what I'm saying? But what happened was my daughter was with me, and she went through that whole process of watching me take them classes online, walk across the stage, all of that, right? So we're downtown in Greektown, and she says, hey, Dad, you got your master's. I'm going to get my PhD. I'm talking, talking about 16, 17 years of age. So I knew what the impact was at that moment, you know what I'm saying, for that to come out of her mouth. So when you talk about inspiration, she's a kinesiology major up at Michigan State.
That's not an easy road.
Not at all.
At all.
She balanced a lot way better than I do. I was one track. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was either playing sports or school, and I just told you school was boring to me. So I was, I didn't start liking school until I started paying $4,000 a semester out of my pocket. So yeah.
Wow, kinesiology.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a whole nother level of academia there. That's
Is that the people that study sports medicine?
Sports medicine.
Yeah. Okay.
Different.
Yeah. Is that like physical therapy though? No.
I think it's more the science behind
It's the science behind it. It's a variety. You could do a lot. We just had that conversation at breakfast today. Is that she could position herself with the MLB, the NBA, the NHL. So they
it's a lot of ways to go.
Yeah. So everything that has happened in the last 2 years, climate-wise, culture-wise, with our community, in and outside of our communities in different states, Minnesota and everywhere else, how has that kind of impacted? Was that like a renaissance moment for you, a rebirth moment for your thinking and processing and how you do business and how you navigate now, just what we've been through in the last 2 or 3 years?
If you're looking at it from the pandemic perspective, or are you looking at it from some of the social ills?
From social ills. Or both.
From the pandemic perspective, the pandemic has some blessings in it. So if you find from the pandemic, you have more entrepreneurs now that came out of it. So, they're screaming about the unemployment and all of that stuff. More
people have started a new business for the first time in the last 2 years than any other time in America.
Yep. Kids too.
And that's interesting you say that, because in my freshman class, my first hour, I have 3 entrepreneurs. They selling gym shoes. They doing everything.
Wow.
And I'm talking about 9th grade.
Wow.
So, I have 2 seniors right now that own 2 properties.
Wow.
Senior class. So, so it's
crazy.
It has a lot of pluses to it. When you looking at the social ills, there's some justice that came out of this. If you looked at what happened in Georgia, you looked at what happened in Minnesota, first time in a long time that, justice worked for us. When I say that, the people,
Right.
Well, a lot of people felt like it was time for them to get reparations too.
No, that's true too. But when you look at how the system actually played itself out, it's eye opening.
Yeah.
And we gotta continue to stay visual.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And we got to do our homework.
We still got a long way to go. Thinking about Black history, coming up in the month of February, and we think about how much we've progressed, but how much further we actually have to go. And the fact that you are being in education, and it's just like it's something that we are proud of, but it's something too that we have to a testament to say, hey, we still have a lot of strides to make and a lot of other things that we have to do as far as our progress. And so the indictment just comes back on us so more to make that progress and make that the change that we need. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, absolutely. So I was going to ask, so as a father, that kind of pushed you to have some real transparent, serious conversations, right?
I've been having them.
Oh, you've been having them?
Yeah, I've been having them since she was little. So, she's been with me when I actually got stopped by the police.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As an educated Black man. So, you know what I'm saying? So,
first-hand experience.
Hands on the steering wheel, understand, you know what I'm saying? But we have to have those, man, period. When I tell you.
The talk.
Yeah. But when I say that she's astute on a lot of different areas, I personally don't have any worries, for myself.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but listening to her actually talk and engage in change itself.
Yeah.
She's been listening for a long time,
and watching.
So, those are the things, and some of the things that she's doing up at Michigan State, her involvement with different organizations, so I appreciate that, and for mine, I'm gonna be honest with you, I set a framework for her, and this is, some solids for some parents out there that may be listening, but I believe that school should be fun.
It should be, yeah.
So when my motto is that kindergarten through 3rd grade, make it fun for them. Mm-hmm. That 4th grade year, you start building the time management pieces in there. So I have one rule in my house is that we don't do homework past 11 o'clock. Whatever you didn't complete by 11, you got to get up 2 hours early and finish it. And she still, to this day, as a sophomore in college, follow that format. But you're going to get 8 hours of sleep in my house. You know what I'm saying? Because kids shouldn't be stressed or pressured for, excellence should become a routine.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's Damion Jackson's model. But I'm just saying is that kindergarten, you start...
It's a conditioning thing.
You start putting pressure on a kindergarten and a second grade, they burnt out by the time they in fifth grade,
Yeah, and you see that all the time.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. So what has... and we talked about the pandemic for a minute, but I want to circle back to that because as an educator... I don't talk to students as much anymore because my position doesn't require it. But when I do talk to them, I can hear the stress. I mean, I could just hear it in their voice. They're just stressed, like this is too much. Well, about trying to catch up.
Yeah.
How they fell behind during the pandemic and just trying to navigate it and put it all back together to get back on track. Sometimes you hear them want to throw their hands up and just walk away from it. Yeah. I'm sure you've experienced that recently. So what words of encouragement would you have for parents and students who are listening right now who feel like, hey, I failed so many classes, I'm trying to catch up, I'm trying to graduate, but it doesn't feel like I'm going anywhere. What would you say to them today?
So it's like Melanie said earlier, though, is that every student that's really in school right now is actually a year behind. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. They lost an actual year. So, my thing is that, got to roll your sleeves up.
Keep going.
You got to press forward, Some of the modules I see for some of the online learning, it can actually be done. You just got to have certain disciplines. For the parents out there, I think parents got a rude awakening at some of the stuff that they thought teachers was doing. And,
Definitely.
Little Johnny was home for 8 hours.
Go back home, back to school. When school gonna open up.
But the other thing too is that this is what I want to share before we go, is that hopefully this thing don't happen again. But if everybody was paying attention to what the pandemic did, it leveled the playing field for everybody. I'm talking about from corporate America to the educational system. This was an opportunity for parents to actually, if you didn't like the curriculum at your child's school, you could have created your own curriculum.
True.
So when you talk about real Black History Month is supposed to be 365 days. You could build that at the dining room table or the living room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or the mathematics components. Right. That was an opportunity for a lot of students to really get ahead of the game. But, we're here now, so at the same time, if you can still build those enrichment pieces in there.
Yeah.
But like I say, even at the corporate level, though, there were some things that was out of our control that we're seeing. Like we spoke earlier, is that more people understand that they can work better, for themselves now, and just press forward. That's it.
Thanks. So if somebody wants to do business with BRJ1 Media Group LLC, how do they get in contact with you, Damion?
www.brj1mediagroup.org. Everything's up there. They can email me directly. My phone was going off as we was talking. I got probably 4 email addresses going, or they can reach out to me at 248-289-0511.
Okay, great.
That's my business line. So once again, it's www.brj1mediagroup.org or 248-289-0511.
Yes, and as a lot of our listeners, our DPSCD educators, you guys are going back to school on the 31st? Monday the 31st. So what I deem educators to be right now are really first responders, just like people in the medical field. And so reach out to Melodic Retirement Services. American Fidelity discontinued the coverages for critical illness and all of those things. We do have living benefits available, so contact me to get those quotes to make sure that you are covered in the classroom as a first responder. My number here is 248-301-2439. We want to thank Damion Jackson again for coming again onto the show.
Absolutely.
And
educator,
for being a
consultant,
guest.
digital media CEO. It's been a pleasure, Damion.
I appreciate
the opportunity. We love the opportunity to talk to you. And you're going to come back and visit us, right? You're going to come back. Okay.
So it's been another episode of The Real Nonsense. And what do we do, Chris?
We make it make sense. Peace.
All right. Peace.